Well, yes. Good afternoon, everybody. It's the 19th of February, 2018. It's the Dog in the Kennel. Another edition of Weber This Week. Hey, all the kids got off this week, huh? No school. Teachers are off. Everybody's off, except the dog. He's on. And today, a special guest, a longtime friend of mine, Jennifer Venuti-Harris, joins me. We're going to talk about Thrive to Survive, an organization that her and some other folks began several years ago to help out people that have been afflicted with the C word, of course, cancer. And we welcome you. And Jennifer, thank you for coming in and spending some time with us.
Thanks for having me.
I wouldn't miss when we talked a few weeks ago. This is a great thing that you guys started, and we'll get to that in just a second. But a couple of back notes to it is the fact that it's amazing. It's hard to talk to a family member from anywhere around the Finger Lakes, or for that matter in this country, that hasn't had a family member or two or three afflicted with cancer. And I was amazed preparing for this program to talk about with Jennifer as regards to there's some 14.5 million people in this country that have been afflicted with cancer, and it's just, to me, staggering. And I think you used the correct word, Jen, before we went on the air. It's an epidemic, and it's just out of sight. And let's talk a little bit first off, regarding Thrive to Survive. I should tell you that I've mentioned this on my show many times. A person that Jen was very close to, as well as myself. He was my son-in-law, Matt Foe, who passed away some 7 years ago. It's kind of scary to think the timeline has been that much between the time he has passed to now. Matt was a great guy, as we all know. I don't have to tell anyone who's watching my show that knows Matt, and I know Jen agrees with me. He emerged as the chief of the fire department. He was involved in actively helping people out, doing things that, above and beyond to help out. And he was contracted with brain cancer when he was a young child, and surgery, and went into remission. Then he had other issues, and unfortunately, some 7 years ago, he passed away. But Jen, you knew Matt, and of course you tell me now the situation developing is the fact that that's when you spearheaded, along with his sister Pam Venuti, to begin this Thrive to Survive. So talk a little bit about what the thought process was in.
Sure. So when, actually in 2010, Matt was relapsed with brain cancer, and at the same time my 10-year-old son was diagnosed with brain cancer. And so my sister-in-law and I kind of went through this parallel journey together, if we want to call it that, and we saw a huge discrepancy in terms of what was available for families who had a child with cancer versus what was available for people who were adults with cancer. And luckily we were inundated with support, which was extremely humbling, and made it able for us to take time off of work and be able to care for our child. But Matt, who had children of his own, still was expected to go to work every day and pay all the household utility bills and make ends meet. And even with good insurance, co-payments are huge. The traveling back and forth to receive treatments are huge. So it adds up really quickly. And so even though Matt had relapsed, he was first at our doorstep. He sat down with our son and he was like, "You're going to beat this. You're going to be fine. You're going to be able to get through this diagnosis," which I thought was extremely selfless of him, even though he was going through it at the same time. So, as you mentioned, unfortunately, he lost the battle in 2012. And so Pam and I and our good friend Roseanne sat down and we're like, what is the universe trying to tell us here? Like, how are we going to pay it forward? How are we going to move forward with this information? And that's really how Thrive to Survive started. And we got a 501c3 shortly after Matt passed, and we started out just by helping people with daily household chores. Like, we didn't have any money at the time, so we were like, "Hey, we'll get you groceries, we'll bring you to treatment, we can pick up your prescriptions for you." And then we did start fundraising shortly after that, and we're able to help people with financial stuff too. And
I think you're, firsthand knowledge, you obviously having gone through with Max, your son. I'm just thinking of the fact when Matt went through this cancer situation and many others, I think the last thing, and disagree with me if you feel like it's the right way to do this, but financially, money, expenses, and bills pile up But that you really don't think about that. You're worried about the disease, correct? You're trying to figure out what's going on and if there's any way to bring this disease under control.
Right.
So really you don't think about all those mail envelopes coming to you every day.
Or you do, and that's kind of what our background, in Thrive was too, is to help alleviate some of that stress so that people could focus on that healing aspect.
Exactly.
Because sometimes that added stress prohibits the healing too.
And let's talk about the ladies that have been associated with Jennifer Venuti-Harris, my special guest today, talking about a wonderful organization, Thrive to Survive, that really tries to aid the adults in several communities from here, Seneca Falls, Geneva, et cetera, to make the situation a little bit more at ease, helping out, getting rides to doctors, the support groups, and we're going to go into more and more detail on that. But I got to think, let me go over the people that are on that work with you on this, and of course, without further ado, Matt's sister, Pamela Venuti, who lives up in Rochester, along with yourself, and also Roseanne Moff.
Yep.
And Roseanne is also a member of your team. Yep. And also you have the likes of a young lady named Mary Hanlon.
Correct.
And she's a board member.
She's a board member.
And you have somebody coming on named Gina Youngs.
Correct.
So that is the group presently. Yes. So, I think if you look at it, and please, when somebody needs assistance, and please, if you are watching my show today and you've never heard of Thrive to Survive, how does somebody contact? They go in and explain to somebody who maybe watched to determine how do they get involved in getting some help.
Sure. So when someone is diagnosed, typically we receive a referral from somebody that's a family member or a friend, and we send out a very nice little note that just says somebody that loves and cares about you has recommended your name to us. We include a small gift card with that initial note and some information about ways to contact us, which is our website. We give them information about our support groups, which are open and free. We have them monthly. They're available to anybody, survivor or caregiver. And then, from there, if somebody wants to find out more about us, they would take that information and come through us, either through the website or the local oncologist's office usually have our pamphlets and handout information, especially with our grant program, so that they can apply to receive some financial assistance through their diagnosis.
The financial assistance can be as much as $500 a year if they qualify?
Yeah, so we do a once a year $500 assistance. The Pick Me Up, which is that initial card, those are year round.
Okay.
And we try to do some follow-ups with those too for people.
And certainly, let's talk a little bit about the wonderful sponsors that make this possible. You have I was looking at it this morning before I came on the air today, and I was thinking about making sure that we publicize and have you make a few comments to the sponsor side of it. Talking about Seneca Stone Corporation.
Yeah.
All Natural Brothers.
So Brothers All Natural.
Yes.
Yeah,
Friendly Forward.
Friendly Forward has been unbelievable. They twice a year have had fundraisers for us. They do a Drive for Your Community event where people can go test drive a car, and they give us money for every test drive. And they have just been huge in supporting us. Sealand
Contractors Corporation.
Yes.
And also Karma Wellness Water.
Yes.
And is it Rochelle Northern?
Yeah, Rochelle.
Yeah. So these are fine sponsors that are involved in helping out Thrive to Survive. And, if somebody is watching today and would like to support, how would they go about that?
So they can email us right through the website at any of the contact information and write at help@thrive2survive.org. We also have a Facebook page, Thrive to Survive, and our website's thrive2survive.org. So,
because, not only there might be a financial ability to get some additional finances, maybe up to $500, depending on if they qualify. But I'm going to think, to help the family out as far as getting to a doctor's appointment. That's important too.
Right.
A lot of appointments are needed.
Right.
And you mentioned before we went on the air today, anything you can get financially is going to help, because I can't imagine what the prescription costs are. They got to be right out of sight, out of mind. as far as the pills go and whatever treatment you're taking.
Well, and if you know insurance, oftentimes, unless it's a maintenance drug, it's not covered. So, you know, the expenses are insane, and anybody that's been through it knows that. And like I said, even with great insurance, it's almost impossible to cover it all.
When you have people that you serve, that you help out your group, and you see them at like the community support meetings, etc., they must feel really warm and fuzzy that there are people out there like yourself and Pam and other people, Roseanne, etc., that have really worked out to do something for them. That must make you feel great too.
We've actually kind of become a family.
I was going to say, yeah.
Yeah, we look out for each other in lots of ways, and some of our support groups are more traditional support groups where we gather and talk about, you know, treatment or who's learned this or who has experienced this type of symptom before. But other times we try to provide distraction activities. We've done meditation. We've done some art groups, and so it's a nice place for people to just unwind and almost have a little bit of a break from the diagnosis.
Are there pretty good turnouts for the support groups usually?
Generally, we have between 12 and 18 people attend. We do some coffee and conversation meetings where we meet in local diners and have breakfast together. So it's a little less formal, I guess, than a support group sounds.
Does everybody go around the room and talk about their condition as far as where they are improving?
It's really a peer-led group, so if somebody wants to share that information, there is an opportunity and a time, and sometimes we just talk about what's going on in our regular everyday life.
Yeah. You know, in what you have seen, I guess, you know, it's difficult it's difficult to understand the fact that there's 14.5 million people in this country that have some sort of cancer. It's mind-boggling. And you would think that the government would, knowing that statistic is so high, would do more as far as offsetting the expenses and offset the charges that are being given to these families that really don't need that at the time of understanding that they have a family member that's suffering and that's going through all this. And, you know, God only knows, like you say, the insurance premiums are not getting any cheaper, and medication and prescription costs aren't getting any cheaper. And, you know, it's just, I guess, a fact of life. But I thought it was interesting when I was going through some material, Jen, is the fact that you and Pam, after Matt's passing, did some research on the internet and basically determined that for the adult care, there really wasn't a lot of opportunities for financial help.
Right, especially in our area. So there are some organizations that are geared specifically. For example, breast cancer has a lot of organizations, and that's fabulous. Gynecological cancers organizations are on the rise, and that's wonderful because unfortunately that cancer is also on the rise. But for people with the general everyday cancer, there really aren't those specific. And so that's the reason that Thrive and decided that we were going to help anybody with any type of cancer. And certainly if they have a gynecological cancer, we'll then refer them to other organizations so they could double dip and get some help in both places. But you know, for Matt, being a brain cancer survivor, there were absolutely no support groups. There were no organizations that were able to help him because we live in a small community. Now, I'm sure there are national organizations that may have opportunities in larger cities that are able to provide some assistance, but at the time he was unable to receive assistance.
Yeah. Well, Jennifer Venuti-Harris is my special guest. We're talking about a wonderful organization. Lots more to talk about. We're going to zero in on the big 5K. Big race coming up in May, and a lot of fun. You can walk or you can run. You can have fun and just help out the cause. That's coming up early May. We'll get to Jennifer on that. This is Weber This Week on a good old Monday, the 19th of February. And boy, I'm jealous of all you people that have the day off and week off. Acting as a gateway to the Finger Lakes, Del Lago leverages the natural beauty and unique offerings while enhancing tourism in the region. The casino features 2,000 slot machines, 89 gaming tables, including 12 poker tables, portico by Fabio Viviani, a 2,400-person entertainment center, farmers market buffet. The hotel, spa, and banquet facility will open summer 2017. Keuka Lake National Bank. Visit Bill Ryan and his team for all of your banking needs.
offices in Union Springs and Aurora, a fine sponsor of this show for over 30 years. DA Liquor on Bridge Street in Seneca Falls. Amy Padula and her team will find the right spirit for you every time. When you stop in, tell Amy the dog sent you. The Gold Hotel welcomes you to come out and enjoy the revitalization of this historic downtown Seneca Falls landmark. Every Wednesday is Ladies' Night with special price drinks and half-priced appetizers. The Omen Theater on William Street in Lyons. See what's playing this week at omentheater.com. Located off New York State Thruway Exit 41, the McGee Diner has earned their reputation as a popular family restaurant, serving country fresh home-cooked meals daily. Stop in for breakfast, lunch, or dinner, and check out their menu at mcgeediner.com. The Child Advocacy Center of the Finger Lakes is a child-friendly location where allegations of physical or sexual abuse are responded to by a multidisciplinary team of professionals. The team works together to conduct a thorough investigation and to provide necessary support services to children and their non-offending caregivers with a goal of minimizing further trauma to a child. Seneca Metals is an award-winning company that has earned a reputation of going above and beyond to protect the environment and support their community. As an EPA inspector once said, their operation is head and shoulders above the rest. And the Newark Pilots of the Perfect Game Collegiate Baseball League, a minor league team with a major league ballpark. Season ticket packages available at newarkpilots.com. And the Wilson Press in Seneca Falls. My good pal Rich Rickey and his team can handle all of your printing and mailing needs. Visit them online at wpress.com.
Welcome back, everybody. It's a dog with you. Yes, Jennifer, husband wanted to remind her to make sure. What was you going to say? Hello, dog?
Hello, dog.
Okay, Ken, you got your wish. But I go by dog because nobody ever remembers that my name's Harold. I don't want to hear about the Harold. I like dog better than anything. By the way, during the commercial break, we got Jennifer Venuti-Harris joining us talking about the wonderful organization Thrive to Survive. But as I was flipping through their website, and it's well done, I might add, I was taken back by a couple of lines that have been used over the years. I just didn't remember them. And if I can bring this back up on my phone, I'll share them with you. We believe, or they believe, that it takes a village to raise a child. And I love this part, as well as it takes a community capitalized to support an adult with cancer. And I found that quite fitting because you need entirely community to fight this and to continue to support.
Yeah.
And that's what it's all about.
Right.
It's not 3 or 4 people.
No.
It's a lot of people giving help and whatever they can do to help out. And if somebody's watching my show today and wants to make a donation, you said they should send it to or get a hold of.
Yeah, the website's the easiest way, thrive2strive.org. They
Gotcha.
can contact any of us individually, or there's a generic
Yep.
help at thrive2strive.org.
And by the way, one of their big fundraisers is a race coming up, and it's I love the name too. It's the Middle Finger 5K, calling all runners and walkers. Help give cancer the middle finger by participating in the second annual Middle Finger 5K coming up on May 5th, 2018, obviously in a couple of months, 2-3 months. Register by visiting www.thrive2survive.org. Registration includes a quality t-shirt and breakfast at the Pier House restaurant following the 5K. They sold out last year, so you better register today. 100%, that's right, 100% of the funds raised go directly to support adults in our community living with cancer. That's the Middle Finger 5K. And what I'm going to do is keep this information. I'll keep plugging it every week on this show, and hopefully it can draw some people maybe to that event. And I got to think that your second one, they must have had a good time in the first one.
Well, it was a great time, and I'll tell you, it was a 6 a.m. run, and we were hoping for this beautiful sunrise. And last year it was pouring at 6 a.m., but Almost everybody that registered showed up. We were
That's
about
great.
40 people under the actual people that registered
That's
that were there.
amazing.
So we had close to 500 runners.
Oh, that's awesome.
It was awesome. And
And they can walk if they don't want to run, right?
they can walk. We had people pushed in a wheelchair last
Oh,
year.
that is
We
great.
had a couple people on roller derby skates. They were supporting one of their roller derby members who was currently battling cancer.
Right.
So it was a great turnout. The breakfast was awesome. The Pier House did an amazing job, and so we're happy to be back there. And the Sons of Italy has been gracious. They gave us their room for the packet pickup, and we have some local wineries and breweries coming on Friday night, so you can do a free wine tasting and free beer tasting
that's
while you
great.
pick up your packet. So
Oh, that's great.
it is a
Yeah.
good time all around.
That's great. And that's on May the 5th. And it starts at 6 a.m. in the morning.
6 a.m. And we thought, if everybody wants to stick around till 8, we might as well do some tequila sunrise to kick off Cinco de Mayo.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. Yeah. Well, hey, we've been talking to Jennifer Venuti-Harris, joining us today talking about Thrive to Survive. I just want to, go back and talk about the goodness and the effort that's being made by you and Pam and Roseanne and everyone else involved. And if somebody wants to be a helper or a volunteer, you're certainly open to that as well.
Yeah, so we have a spot right on our website that if people want to volunteer, they can let us know right through there, and then we usually will send them back information, see what they're interested in. I mean, we certainly want people to register or volunteer for things that they want to do.
Right.
So if they, want to help at the 5K, for example, or if they want to come to support groups and just be a friend, oftentimes companionship is so important when you're going through a diagnosis that seems so isolating. So it's however people want to volunteer. We, have events throughout the year, so we certainly want people to be happy with their volunteering.
Well, I'm sort of intrigued by the support groups in Geneva. I think that is a nice touch, and I think you said 12 to 18 people sometimes show up, and that gives everyone an opportunity to get updated, and they become friends, and they become allies with each other.
Yeah.
And I think that's a great touch.
And it's a very inclusive group. Each month we've had somebody new or 2 people show up each time, and I think people feel welcomed right away because they come back. So it's a good indication to us that it's going well.
Now, we've been talking for the last 20 minutes, but I never mentioned, for folks that may not know you, talk a little bit about your family. I know your husband's Ken, and you have children.
Yeah, so I have 2 boys. Max, he's part of the reason this started.
Sure.
And he just finished his first semester at Hobart and William Smith Colleges, so he's
great.
loving it.
Awesome.
Wants to join a fraternity in the fall. And our younger son, Jack, is a senior in high school. He also is doing very well academically, and he just committed to Hobart William Smith as well. So lucky for me to have him super close to home. We don't see Max, even though he lives down the street, but that's a good indication that he's having fun.
Yeah, well, that's great. And trying to talk mom into joining a fraternity. Okay.
Yeah, I'm going to support him. But
Okay, all right. Well, it sounds like fun. It's hard to believe, God, I can remember kids this big.
Right.
Going to college, and, well, kind of like, it's amazing how fast people grow up.
Right.
So, and you're working at Hobart.
Yes, so I'm in the education department there, and work
So what
with,
do you do?
I work with people who want to be teachers. So
Okay.
yeah, I help them in their pre-service field placements, go in and mentor them in the field, and I also teach a few classes for students who want to be teachers.
That's great. You enjoy that line of work?
I love it.
That's great. Well, I'm sure that, how much time do you spend along with Pam and the rest regarding Thrive to Survive? Is it an every week scenario, every couple of weeks? Do you get together or call on the phone, email, and all that stuff? How much effort? I mean, I'm sure you put effort in. I wonder how much time it takes you to put things together.
Well, it's interesting you ask because it's literally another full-time job.
Is it really?
Yes, and
Wow.
we all do it volunteer, and we all often say that we need a break, and we just can't take a break. We have helped over 700 families.
Oh my God!
And so, which is amazing, and we never want to say no to somebody. So, I get home from work and I spend at least a few hours every night on the computer, either answering calls, emails. We do have monthly board meetings, but we also have probably weekly or sometimes daily board emails. We have collective decisions on everything. It's really great. Like, there are some things that we've agreed that we can just accept. but it takes a lot of time to process the grants and to make sure that people's needs are being met, and everybody has their own set of needs.
Yeah.
And so we certainly want people to come to us, and whether they need help navigating the insurance system, or they want to know how to go about getting a second opinion, or they're looking for someone who's had a similar diagnosis to them. It's whatever they need, we try to match them up and make sure that we're helping them.
Well, let's praise the people that are involved in the Thrive to Survive. Of course, obviously, Jennifer Venuti-Harris, who's been my guest for the last 25 minutes, obviously involved heavily. Let's not forget about Pam Venuti, of course, lives in Rochester. She is on the Facebook page anyways, listed as the president.
She's the president.
And you're the VP?
Yeah.
All right. And also we have Roseanne Moth.
Yep.
And she's also involved. And also they've got some help coming in from Mary Hanlon and Gina Young. So, I mean, it sounds like a small group, but it sounds like you're never always looking at each other deciding what you're going to do tonight, because you have things to handle. And it's quite a tribute that you're putting the time and effort. And I think the area and myself and my family appreciates what you guys do day in and day out to help people that are in need. And I still go back to that community needs to work with the people that are afflicted. And so
thank you. Yeah.
I think
we're small but fierce.
Ah, yes, I'm sure. That's right. Small but fierce. I like that. Here we go. We got some pictures flashing up on the screen. So I think it's part of your website, right? So
yes.
It's great.
That's a Facebook page.
Okay, great. So, it's just, it's been a pleasure talking to you about this. And I certainly hope that maybe down the road, give us an update and maybe get a hold of me, come back for an encore.
Yeah, thank you so much.
It's my pleasure. And by the way, feel free to email anytime with any event. I will plug this. I'll make it a habit to plug this. It's not until May, but every week when I do my show, I'll be sure to plug it on the airwaves. And if you have other events that you want me to plug, feel free to send me an email.
Okay. Thank you so much.
It's 1-800-DOG. Just kidding. No, it's close. Dogness. We try to change. Well, listen, folks, before we sign off, and thank Jennifer for visiting us to Thrive to Survive. Having dealt with it, and my family dealt with it personally, losing Matt, and Jennifer dealing with son Max when he, in 2010. I can't emphasize enough that if you've got some extra money and you'd like to make a donation, feel free to do that. If you can make this May 5th race, please get involved with that. I can't think of a better cause. I can't think of a better effort that's being put together by the magical team of 5 that consistently has done so much to keep it running and to keep it operating and to keep helping out the adults that are been afflicted by this miserable, terrible disease called cancer. So, by the way, upcoming shows, we got a couple scheduled out next week. We had a young lady coming in. Her name is Claire Benjamin, and you may be familiar with the name Mark Benjamin's been on my show. Mark, of course, is in charge of community relations for Seneca Metals. Him and Kyle Black have been my guests many times over the last several months. But Claire Benjamin, I had a chance to meet with her, and I've met her before. She's a pistol, just like Jennifer. She is unbelievable. She lives out in Lodi, and she is an artistic talent. She has the ability to do chocolate designs, also food designs, drink designs. She's really nifty. Her name is Claire Benjamin, the better half of the Benjamin family. I had a chance to meet with her the other day at the casino, trying to prep her appearance next week. She's going to bring samples for myself and Jimmy. Jimmy's not going to have any of it. I'm going to take his share, but no, it's going to be fun. She's bringing in samples next week, and it'll be quite a show. So Claire Benjamin, who's involved in tons of things, and she really is artistic, so please check that out. Next week on the Weber Show. Then the following week, I've been plugging this for a few weeks because I always wanted to get them on, and believe me, they're the only people I've ever asked to come on my show that have a restaurant/diner that do not need my publicity. Connie's Diner. They need nobody to help them. They're always packed. But Carm Cardazola, along with Paul Cardazola, who just got through with disc surgery. I understand he's back to work. He's doing fine per Carm. They will be here on March the 5th talking about what makes Connie's as great as it is. And I dare you, because me and my wife Mary were kidding about it the other day. We drive by, they're busy. On the way to Geneva, we drive back from Geneva, they're busy again. It's amazing. Connie's Diner owners will be here March the 5th telling us about all their trade secrets. And I can tell you what they are right now, folks. Reasonable price, great staffing, and great food. So speaking for my friend Jennifer Venuti-Harris, thank you, Jen, along with owner, director Jim Senecrobi, this is a dog. Enjoy your week off. Hey, baby, get out the short 68 tomorrow.